All right, we have some ice in here. We're going to put this under one of the tubes. For the other tube, we're going to light a candle. And I'm going to put that candle underneath the other tube. So what I'm going to do then is I'm going to close the convection box. And what I'm doing is I'm sealing it. The only way air can get in is through these two tubes. So the next thing I'm going to do is I am going to use a piece of incense. And I'm going to use the incense simply because it will create smoke. And the reason I want to create smoke is because, so here's my incense and it's creating smoke. So the reason I want to create smoke is because air is moving in and out of these tubes, but I can't see the air move. So by putting this smoke over the tubes, we should be able to see how the air moves. So here's my first question for the lab. If I were to put the incense over the tube with the ice, what I'd like you to do is predict. So write in your notes or write in your lab, predict what do you think will happen to this smoke? So go ahead, pause the video and make that prediction. All right, so you've made that prediction. Now the next prediction. What will happen if I put the incense over the side with the candle? What do you think will happen? So go ahead, pause the video, make your prediction. So let's do the experiment now. So part one wants me to put the incense over this right here. And sometimes it's hard to see, so I'm going to shine the light on it. And you can see, it's a little bit hard to see. What I'm going to do is I'm going to get a black sheet of paper. I'm going to set it up here. It might be a little bit easier to see now if I put this here. So if you can't see what's happening, the smoke is actually getting all pulled down into the tube. And if I would look at it in there, I could see that there's smoke moving within the chamber as well. So I'm going to zoom in a little bit more, and you should be able to see that it's moving down. So what I want you to do is pause the video, and what I want you to do is in your lab write a description, type it out if you have the online version, or write it out if you have the paper copy. What do you observe happening? And you should talk about how the smoke's coming down here. So go ahead, pause the video. All right, now that you have a written description, I want you to draw what's happening here. And let me put it up here. Maybe you can see it a little bit better. There you go. Should be able to see the smoke moving down. So now we're going to move it to the other side. What do you see happening? Oops. Do you see any smoke moving down at all? And if you look at it, and it's hard to see because it's all up here, let me move it up a little bit. If I move it up here, you should be able to see that the smoke is not going down the tube at all. It's all rising. So go ahead, pause the video and write your description and draw what you see happening. All right. So again, it was hard to see, but what was happening was the smoke was coming down this side. It was actually coming through over here, and it was coming back up. Now, when I had the incense over here and it was lit, nothing was going down because the air was coming up on this side. So go ahead and answer the making sense questions. And pause the video while you do that. All right, so now you've had a chance to answer the making sense questions. So can you figure out what's happening here and why this is happening? Well, what's going on this side? Some people will say, well, the molecules are getting cold, so they're dropping, or the ice is cooling off the molecules, so they're dropping. Well, cold air can't rise. Warm air rises. Cold air can't. So how could the cold air get up here to cool off the molecules? What's happening is actually on this side. If I were to put my hand over the tube, I could feel the heat from the candle coming up the tube. So what's happening is that the warm air on this side, the air in the chamber is in contact with the flame, and that air heats up, just like the air in the atmosphere is in contact with the ground and it heats up. So once that air heats up, it rises because it's less dense. So the air is coming up this side. Now, if the air is going up on this side, new air must take its place. So what's happening is that on this side, the air is being pulled down into the chamber because on this side it's being pushed up. So air comes in on this side because it's being pulled down. Could we do this without the ice? Absolutely. It just won't happen quite as fast because it's cooling it down. So make sure you ask any questions. If you've missed this lab and you're doing it on your own, ask questions if you have them, and make sure Mr. O'Toole or Mr. Phillips knows that you have your lab turned in. Thanks.